Very poor performance from Manchester United. We must all admit we were beaten because we failed at the basics of the game. But also, let's be honest, guys. Ruben Amorim was not really so interested in this game, considering his squad selection and how he managed the game. Welcome to the United of Sport. Here is my match reaction of our humiliating loss to Newcastle United. For the first time since 1931, they beat us home and away. It's not good, but did you expect any worse, really, from this squad this season? Guys, let's first of all give Newcastle their flowers. They have, for me, arguably one of the three best squads in the Premier League. That's with Arsenal and Liverpool. The order, I might even put Newcastle ahead of them on paper. Their squad is too good. They are far better than Man United. So I think the loss is not the issue. But go back to the performance of the team. I thought we were, first of all, beaten mentally. The mental issues were glaring in our squad. You saw it that our players were not really in it. They were fidgeting with everything. Diogo Dallo has had a few good games good runs going forward. He missed an opportunity to score because he wanted to get a penalty. But he also gave a good pass to Alejandro Garnacho, making some good runs. I thought he had looked improved going forward in the past few games. But the mistake that resulted in that I think third goal for Newcastle should be the second or third goal for Newcastle, where he was beaten easily, was so basic. That was one basic error. Look at the Altel Bayindil, rather the Altel Bayindil poor pass, which failed to reach its destination. Joe Linton sets up for his guy, and they score. Again, that was an individual error, but that's the only error by the I'll fault Bayindil for. Of all the 4 goals we considered, I'll only fault him for that error. The rest were not his. The Nusal Mazraoui error that resulted in when he slipped and it resulted in the goal for Harvey Barnes. Whereas Mazraoui was at fault for whatever he was doing and the sleeping. I don't know whether he plays in fair play boots, but the other defenders, Lindelof and Yoro, should have closed Harvey Barnes, because for me, Harvey Barnes really it was him against, I think, 3 or 4 guys around him. They could have really tamed him and stopped him. So for me, that was schoolboy defending. That was poor defending from them. Never mind the error from Nusal Mazraoui. So again, that for me was a basic. Lenny Yoro failing to even control the ball at times. He looked, shoddy from the start. He was so shoddy from the start. Couldn't control a simple ball. We are playing a lot in the back. We know that Altel Bindi is not great with his ball distribution, but still playing a lot to him. I thought that was again basic from Man United. Zach I think was a spark. He almost scored a beautiful goal. I think I like the 1-2 with him and Bruno. You see, when you put smart players next to Joshua Zirkzee, I've said this before, put players like Ahmad, Bruno, Kobe around him, the smart players around him, not these Garnachos of the world. I'll tell you, Zirkzee is a baller. He will show us certain things in his game that we haven't seen. Sadly, that hamstring muscle injury might keep him out for perhaps 4 weeks or even the rest of the season. Those hamstrings are always so bad. They handle them with care. But Zirkzee was a little beautiful spark in the team with the runs he was making until the point when he limped off injured. Then Patrick Dogu comes on, but Dogu is fidgeting for me. I mean, I feel like Dogu is trying so hard. He's not playing football easily and naturally. He's fidgeting and looks bad on him. I think that, like I said, it's mental. For most of our players, they're playing in their heads, and that's a very bad thing. You can't play football when you think, especially when they're playing in the Premier League. The occasion, I think, because of their position on the pile and the intensity and how frightening the stage is, they just cannot hold it together. They are beaten psychologically, I think, at times by some of these big teams. But the positive we can look at in this game is finally being able to see this young Harry Amas make his debut. I thought he was okay. He saved a few balls, cleared a few balls in there. He was aggressive, trying to go into one-on-one tackles with big guys in corner kicks. He had 31 touches on the ball, 11 passes completed, 3 clearances, 2 dribbles, a shot. For an 18-year-old who is just making his first start in the Premier League, for me, in such a big game, in this terrible Man United, I thought he looked okay for me, really. I thought he was one of our better performers, him and Zirkzee. I would give him a bit of that. For Manuel Ugarte, the jury for me is still out there. Guys, the jury for Manuel Ugarte is still out there. I'm not fully convinced by Manuel Ugarte. He has got he's always getting yellow cards even when they are not necessary. I think Diogo Dalot has been improving the past few games, I think, except for the error he made, that goal that he failed to defend. The guy was easily beaten like a schoolboy. But I thought going forward, I think he's looking improved on the right wing in the past games. But clearly, going back to the approach of the game, Ruben Amorim did not have this game in his plan. I think Amorim was keeping his players for the Europa League return leg against Olympic Lyon because he knows that's where they have better things to fight for. If we win the Europa League, and there's every chance that we can win it, if we based on the past games we've played on the stage, certainly we'll be back in the Premier in the Premier in the we'll be back in the Champions League next season. So for me, that would make sense, a lot of sense, than trying to fight and outstretch yourself playing in the Premier League, where first of all you're not anywhere close to any of the teams you're facing, Newcastle and the likes. But also, it's not taking you anywhere. Even if you had won that game, you're not going anywhere. So why not rest players who looked clearly fatigued even in the game against Olympic Lyon? So that's why I thought he even substituted Bruno. For me, that was a sign. Told Harry Maguire to warm up, but he did not bring him on. Why? Because he knows there is nothing to save in this game. That's why Lindelof played 90 minutes. That's why Eriksen played 90 minutes, because there is no interest in this game. There was no proper interest at all in this game. There is a more important game on Thursday. He kept players like Casemiro, rested Bruno, players like Harry Maguire, even Mason Mount. You saw when he came on, the hard work he brings on the pitch. You think Mount will be important for the game against Leo. So for me, the only miss I think will be Joshua Zirkzee, because really he has been an important player for Man United in everything good we've been doing. He's been looking a part of it, but you clearly understand what Amarim was planning, what was on his mind. But you look at the Man United squad really, and you can imagine if you're Ruben Amorim, you should be so disappointed by how bad these players are. Players fidgeting with the very basics of the game. It's so bad. It looks so ugly on them. They are fidgeting with the basics. Now, what do you do as a coach? These are the players you have at your disposal. Look at how stressed he is. Poor guy. Just turned 40 what? Is it 40 or 41? But looks like he's 50 or something. I mean, he's just struggling to get the best out of this team. But I'll tell you, he has tried, because honestly, against, like I said, one of the best squad, we had moments there. We had moments in the game. We had a few little moments to talk about in the game, of course, before we capitulated and we were beaten because of individual schoolboy errors. But you look at the ball possession in the game, we had 52% of the ball, they had 48, 12 shots on goal, they had 9. So that's not so bad for a team much better than you. For Altel Bayindil, my verdict is, I thought, for me, Bayindil did okay, save for that one error he made. I thought he did okay. In fact, he has justified returning for the next game against Olympic Lyon. Even if Andro Nana were to sort his personal issues, I'll still keep Altel Bayindil in between the sticks. I thought he did not do terribly well. He had a beautiful save against Alexander Isak. I mean, for you to be able to term the best striker in Europe, for me, that is a mark of success. For Bayindil, I think he will feel safe for that one error where he tried to serve the ball in the midfield only for it to be won back by Joe Linton. And by the way, the chip was okay. It's Linton you credit for the hard work he put in to head that ball and create a goal scoring opportunity for Newcastle out of nothing. But by and large, I thought Bayindil, even if he considered those goals he considered, he didn't have a stinker. It wasn't a stinker for him. So yeah, that's it. I won't dig so much into this game because clearly, even for the manager and the players, they were not really into it. And really, we lost to a much better team than Manchester United. Out of 10, our performance, below average, obviously, I would give it a 3.5 out of 10. But understandably, I will not be here crying about how we're not scoring goals. Garnacho, whereas he scored a goal, it was probably the only good thing he did in the entire game, but he was also rested and perhaps kept for the next game, for the Olympic Lyon game. So you can see everything, the mentality of the entire team, the coach, the players, even the fans, I think, was on Thursday's Europa League game, because that's the final for Manchester United. Might be the most important game for Man United this season, because it might change the tide. It might change everything, the mentality and the progress of whatever Ineos and Amorim are doing might change if United is ejected by Olympic Lyon. So it's a very important game, and that's why I understand if he chose to keep some of his important players and not bring them on in an already gone game, in an already gone league. Doesn't it make sense? For me, those are the lessons learned. Let me know what you think. Good to see you, Harry Amas. We fought for him to play. Comes in a bad team against a strong team, but I thought he did okay. He was the second best player after Zaxi for Man United. So, great to the young lad. Let me know what you thought about the game. Cheers.